So it is really an enormous honor to be here. And it's kind of amazing to me because I have been teaching meditation for quite a long time, as many of you know. I came back from India in 1974, where I'd gone to study meditation, and thanks to Dr. Dan Goleman, who's here somewhere, I found my teacher. And by method. And when I came back with the encouragement of my own teachers to be a teacher. And as I often say, in those days, I'd be at a party or some social situation, and people would say to me, "What do you do?" And I'd say, "I teach meditation." And they'd kind of go, "Oh," and sort of sidle away, like, "That's weird." Or occasionally people would say to me, "Do you know the Beatles?" And I'd say, "No, they went when I was in high school." Like, different lineage anyway. And now, I think largely because of the science and the research and just the tremendous relanguaging of the contemplative science and the nature of looking at the mind, it's a very different world. Even coming back in through customs or some situation like that, where people will say to me, "What do you do?" And I say, "I teach meditation." Often the response is, "I'm so stressed out. I could really use some of that." Although my favorite response, which I also hear sometimes, is, "My partner should really meet you. They could really use that." I do hear that. It's really quite good. But at the same time, you know, it's just been this tremendous thing to be teaching and just teaching and teaching. And so many of the programs, almost all of the programs I taught forever, were just open. And it was so touching to meet the people who were coming to look for contemplative practice, and the people who were in caregiving relationships, often in their own family, their children, their parents, something like that, or in their communities, trying to make this a better world. People in professional situations, they'd come up after I'd lead a sitting and they'd say, "I'm working in this inner city school and the kids are hopeless. I really need the inner strength to be able to give them some hope." Or, "I work in end-of-life care, I'm a nurse," or you know, some role like that, and my values are often so different than the world around me. And I want to be there with those patients. I want to be there in a way that's really serving them. Or international humanitarian aid workers, women have come up to me literally shaking, saying, "I am in Rwanda, I'm living in Rwanda, and I'm dealing with so much suffering and so much sexual violence, and there's no one there who shares my meditation practice. I really need help." Or a soldier, an active duty soldier, writing to me from Iraq, saying, I was interested in meditation before I enlisted, and now I really need to meditate. Will you guide me? It's been an amazing process. And one of the ways I've seen the Garrison Institute really taking a revolutionary next step is that all of that's been very personal. All these people have come as individuals and have taken the skills, whatever skills they would get, and the tools, and bring them back to their communities. But there hasn't been so much attention to the kind of systems change that might happen, and the kind of mutuality of inner resilience and outer resilience when systems become resilient and the person can get more resilient, or when the person gets more resilient, and how that will affect the whole system, the whole community. And so I really saw my involvement in Garrison as my ability to take the next step in my offering and be able to see the manifestation of contemplative practice in an entirely different way. And it's something I've been tremendously grateful for, because I really do think this is our future. This is the only future we're going to have, as Dan just said. And so I think it doesn't have to be any particular kind of contemplative practice. It's certainly not tied to a belief system, but some evolution of us as people, so that the love and the compassion that we yearn for and are actually capable of can be accessed and can be manifested in our lives together. So I want to thank Jonathan and Deanna for their incredible vision and their work, and introduce our next speaker, Paul Hawken, who I want to say that whenever I feel in complete despair about the environment, I read Paul. And I find out that the facts are worse than I had thought, and that there's no need to despair, and that we have to do the work. We have to start doing the work right now, and somehow I feel better. Thank you.